Welcome to According to Sam, folks. This is episode 434. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to pick up where we left off in the last podcast. I have a lot to share with you guys today. We're still talking about the racial tribalism crises that we are dealing with here in the United States in our third century, our series on the United States crises of the third century. And you can see here on the list that the racial tribalism crisis is the fifth crisis that we've identified. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now because it's a major issue. And we've been also talking about the Nolan Wells case because I've explained to you and demonstrated how this case, no matter what happened to Nolan Wells, if something nefarious happened and he was murdered or if he simply drowned, none of that matters. It's how Nolan Wells and this case is being used as part of this racial tribalism crises that we are going through right now in the United States, the way it's being used politically. I've explained all that to you, that Nolan Wells is what I say, the George Floyd of 2026. The way George Floyd was used in 2020 politically, then Nolan Wells is being used now by these civil rights movements, the civil rights organizations, the NAACP, National Urban League, National Action Network. They are using this for politics because Democrats have been bleeding black voters incrementally going back to 2012. And, they're in a lot of trouble right now. Democrats are in a lot of trouble and black voters are the core. Black voters are extremely important. And if I have time, I'm going to go further into that about black voters being what I'm calling now the crack for the Democratic Party. They have to have it. It's like the Democrats are like crack fiends and the black vote is like their fix, their crack. And I have some stuff that I'm going to share to demonstrate that a little bit more later on in the podcast. But we got some new information this week that I just found was explosive. Some text messages from Warren, and I believe this is Warren. Warren texting Nolan Wells' mother, Christine, on the day and the 24-hour period of him disappearing, or 48-hour period. He disappeared on the 4th. Body was found on the 6th. Warren was texting with Nolan Wells' mother, and these texts were released this week, and they're absolutely explosive. Because if you remember, Christine said that she didn't know these friends, that she didn't know who they were or anything, is what she said. She had no familiarity with them, and she had been texting with Warren in that time that Roland was missing. The texts again were released. Read some of these things. Christine asking what was Nolan wearing. Warren, black shorts and sunglasses. Christine asked him to call Neva is the name. Call Neva at DMR. DMR is Department of Marine Resources or something like that. Marine. It's a boating community there in South Mississippi. So that's what DMR is. So call Neva at DMR. Warren on the phone with Coast Guard right now is what Warren texts back to Christine. I'm on the phone with the Coast Guard right now. I'm working with you. I'm trying to figure out what happened to Nolan. I want to know what happened to Nolan too. I will after I get off the phone. This is what he says. I will call the DMR after I get off the phone with the Coast Guard. I will after. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am is what he says. Thank you so much is what she says. This is all pleasantries. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We have to file a missing persons report. So one more time, tell me exactly where you saw him last. I'm sorry for asking. Listen to these pleasantries. This is Christine talking to Warren. So, and that's file a missing persons report. Tell me one more time exactly where you guys were. I'm sorry for asking. you to repeat this. He says, no problem. At 3 p.m., west tip, north side of Horn Island. He gives a ping. Exactly. This is where I saw him last on Horn Island. Where did you guys launch from? Is the next question she asked him. We launched the boats yesterday evening and left from, here this morning. Or maybe this is where the ping is where they launch from. I don't know where the ping is related to, but she's in complete communication with him. This one really got me. Oh, and then, okay, so this, you can see the dates too. This is the 5th, the day after. His body's not found to the 6th. Nolan's dad is at the house to pick up the key. Hey, Warren, this is Christine texting Warren. Hey, Warren, what kind of sunglasses was Nolan wearing? I'm pretty sure Ray-Bans, Miss Christine. Hey, Miss Christine, this is Warren. Later on, after that 1 p.m., so this is 4 hours later, Warren texts Christine Wells again. Hey, Miss Christine, just wanted to check in. We went out this morning, letting her know. Hey, Miss Christine, just wanted to check in. We went out this morning to look. This is what Warren is telling you. This morning we went out and looked after I've been talking to you and communicating to you. I've been off the phone with Jackson County Sheriff's Office today. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, is what she says. This is explosive. These text messages were explosive. When I saw this, I was just like, wow. Because this woman said over and over again that these weren't her son's friends. I didn't know who they were. And these are the text messages going on. We appreciate it, is what she says. More text messages. Thank you. We appreciate it. What was the make and model of the boat you guys were on? Nolan went out on a 22 foot Triton offshore. I was on a 24 foot tide line. All this information that she's giving him, that he's giving her immediately. This is again on the 5th, later that night. We were on separate boats. I went back on the Triton. DMR and the sheriff's office has all this information also. Later that night, or no, this is the morning or the next day. This is on the 6th. Hey, Warren, can you collect all of Nolan's islands left at Jack's house? And then, so he didn't reply to that. And then this is the very next text message is on the day of the funeral. This is July 20th, a couple of weeks after all this stuff has exploded and the friends have been accused of killing Nolan Wells. And this is the one that really got me, because this is the morning of the funeral. His friends couldn't even go to the funeral because of the way they had been demonized in the press. And this is what he says. This is what Warren says. Good morning, Miss Christine. I just wanted to let you know that my family and I have been praying for you and your family. Nolan was one of my best friends since we were in the 8th grade together. You and Mr. Elmore raised one of the best men I have ever met. I wish I could be there today, but I would never want to take the attention off of your family and Nolan and be a distraction. Thank you for being the best parents. Man, when I saw this the first time, it's really got to me, man, because these people are being deceptive. This is just, this is disgusting what you're witnessing here. So, now I want to transition to start talking about this Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf case, because this case has come back into the news as Karmelo Anthony is seeking a new trial on appeal. He has a new legal team. And when they gave the verdict for Karmelo Anthony, and this is all pertaining to the crisis of the racial tribalism. This is a crisis. This is a very serious crisis. So, the theme is the same. This is just a different story about the same theme. That we have a racial tribalism crisis in this country. It's not accidental. The racial tribalism crisis is being encouraged It has been encouraged by the media, by people in political high places, for politics to create conflict. It's Marxist conflict theory. I've explained all that to you. But this case, when they finally finished the trial, the initial trial, and they handed out the verdict, 35 years for Karmelo Anthony. I had a lot that I wanted to say about this case that I started to move on because the Nolan Wells, like I said, when the Nolan Wells thing happened on over the July 4th weekend, they kind of all the racial grievance, commentators and content creators and the racial grievance industry in the political sphere. They all dropped Karmelo Anthony like a bad habit and moved to Nolan Wells. And I kind of did that too. And all the stuff that I had to talk about with this case kind of fell by the wayside. But now that it's back in the news because he's seeking a new trial, and they've had a couple of hearings, a hearing to recuse the Judge Roach, which he was recused. And now they're arguing, the reason why he should get a new trial. He has a completely new, defense team, and that are arguing his appeal. And when you argue an appeal and looking for a new case, what his new legal team is doing, and what any appellate legal team will do, they'll go through the original trial, the initial trial that happened in June, and they'll look for areas in the trial where they can say that this wasn't fair or this wasn't done proper, and that's the reason why we need a new trial. So Karmelo Anthony's new lawyers, they have seized on a couple of different reasons why they feel that he needs a new trial. The main ones are that the original trial was not open to the public. They didn't have cameras in the courtroom, which I believe that the law in the state of Texas says that if you don't have a good reason to keep cameras out, then cameras can be in every courtroom. And they didn't have cameras. They didn't have an overflow room, large enough overflow room to have the public. So the appellate lawyers are saying that's a reason that Karmelo Anthony should get a new trial. And then there's this gentleman's agreement where the Karmelo Anthony's lawyers, his original defense lawyers, and the prosecutions made a deal that neither one of these two individuals' character background are going to be entered into the trial. That the background of Austin Metcalf, which is horrible, he's got a horrible background. But so does Karmelo Anthony. Both of these people do. Both of these guys do. And so the prosecution saw it as advantageous not to have Austin Metcalf's background presented into the case. And then when more of Karmelo Anthony's background was presented to his defense team, then it was advantageous for Karmelo Anthony's defense team to make that agreement as well. So they both agreed on this. And when this case was over in June, when Karmelo Anthony didn't take the stand, I mean, I was curious. I was like, why did he not take the stand? I mean, you can't have a self-defense. Folks, it's funny because they talked to Austin Metcalf's dad about this, these new trials that just took place yesterday and today, and attempting to get a new trial for Karmelo Anthony. And all of this has to be decided by Monday. There's a law that says that for you to get a new trial, you have to have everything as far as all of the documentation. It has to be basically decided within 75 days of your conviction. And Monday is the 75th day. So all this has to be decided by Monday. But they asked Austin Metcalf's dad about it, and Austin Metcalf's dad said he doesn't care if they give Karmelo Anthony a new trial because the facts aren't going to change. And he's absolutely right about that. That's what he said, and he's absolutely right about that. If Karmelo Anthony gets a new trial, it's going to be the same facts. And actually, some of these facts about his background are going to be introduced into this new trial. Now, the facts about Austin Metcalf's background are also going to be introduced. But what are the core facts of this case? The core facts of this case is that this kid is dead, and the cause of death is homicide. That's never going to change. That fact is never going to change, that the cause of death is homicide. Now, you may say that the homicide was justified. Maybe you can say that it was justified because of stand your ground. Maybe you can say, or sometimes in vehicular homicide, if I didn't, intend to swerve and hit this person and kill them, then that's justified. There's different justifications for homicide, but the cause of death does not change. The cause of death is homicide. This kid is dead because he was killed, and he was killed by Karmelo Anthony. That fact ain't going to change. That fact is not going to change. The fact that the cause of death is homicide, and the person who committed the homicide is Karmelo Anthony. None of those facts are going to change. So now that we have the fact that there was a homicide, and the fact that Karmelo Anthony committed the homicide, then for Karmelo Anthony to be innocent, then he would have to give a justification for why him committing this homicide was justified. Was it an accident? Was it, stand your ground or something like that? His justification, his argument for why the homicide was justified is that it was self-defense. That it's a self-defense case. So when I heard that he didn't testify after the first trial, I was blown away. I was like, well, why is this guy not taking the stand? I knew there had to be something. There had to be some reason that he's not taking the stand and testifying to the fact of why his homicide was justified under a self-defense claim. I knew it. And we found out this week what it was. It was his background. And he had a lot of stuff in his background that his defense team did not want to be entered into the court. And that's why he made what they're calling a gentleman's agreement, that his background would not be introduced if the defense did not introduce Karmelo Anthony's background. And both of their backgrounds are really bad. Karmelo Anthony's family made some huge mistakes right in the beginning, though. And one of them was working with this guy. His name is Dominique Anthony is his name. Dominique, what's his name here? I got it here. Dominique, I forget. Alexander is his name. Dominique Alexander. And you can see this headline. Activist minister. I don't know what kind of minister he is. Activist minister aiding teen killer Karmelo Anthony has his own lengthy rap sheet, reports. That the family working with this guy, Dominique Alexander, was a huge problem. And it's the same thing with Nolan Wells and his family. Even if you want, to hire lawyers and to help you get to the bottom of what happened to your son, you have to be careful of who you're associating yourself with. I mean, you never heard of Tawana Brawley? You never, you don't know Al Sharpton's history? You don't know Ben Crump's ambulance chasing history? Who you choose to associate yourself with, it's going to add to your credibility or diminish your credibility. And I believe that Christine Wells associating herself and aligning herself with Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, has really, it hadn't been good because the thing is, if you look at these text messages, she was being cordial with these guys. She was being, everything. And then as soon as she hires Ben Crump, even on this last text messages, you can see that she doesn't even reply to this on the day of his funeral, where he's saying, my family's praying for you. You know, you're the best mom that he got. She didn't even reply because she had already hired, Ben Crump and started working with Al Sharpton at this point, and they were going to take her down this completely different path. So who you associate yourself with is very important. And this week, Christine Wells and her husband did this interview on this podcast with Jamal Bryant. I mean, this shyster, Jamal Bryant, I mean, he's again the same. And you can look here at this post I wanted to share from Reverend Damian Thaddeus Jones. He says in this post, after Christine Wells and Elmore did this interview with Jamal Bryant, the pimp. This guy's not a pastor. He's a pimp. And Reverend Jones says, I pray for the parents of Nolan Wells to find out how their son died. However, I do not understand this Hollywood PR tour that they are on. You don't understand it? I've been trying to explain it for the past few weeks. What's going on with this Hollywood PR tour. But who you choose to associate yourself with is very important. If you're associating yourself with the likes of Jamal Bryant and the likes of Ben Crump and the likes of Tawana Brawley Sharpton, then, I'm sorry, you are going to put yourself in a position to lose credibility and make serious mistakes in the case of Karmelo Anthony that is going to add time to your son's conviction and sentence, because your son's getting convicted, because those facts don't change. This is the real question, and the real, meat of all of these people's arguments is 35 years. 35 years. You're going to give this guy 35 years. It's not the fact that he was convicted. If he was convicted and got 5 years, then people would be like, okay, that's not so bad. That he did take his life. It was, a homicide, and he's the cause of the homicide, but maybe it was manslaughter. Maybe, there are certain factors. 5 years, 35 years, completely different. So the amount of time is what a lot of people are hung up on. And this guy, as I'm going to play this clip here in a moment, a lead attorney, this guy added time. He added time to Karmelo Anthony's sentence. And if he wouldn't have made, and the parents wouldn't have made, by aligning themselves with this guy in the beginning, terrible mistakes that cost Karmelo Anthony even more time. This was a huge mistake. And this guy's still speaking for the family. He's still speaking for the family. He was there this week. This is a video of him speaking just yesterday, or was this the day before yesterday? August 20th. So when was that? That was yesterday. Speaking for the family after the trial there. Take a listen.
I don't want to indulge into the criminal case too far, but what I want people to know is follow the facts. It's been displayed. Everything that was said in court today, in the facts against Austin and Hunter, it's not some allege. It's factual. It was submitted to court. It was there during the beginning of the trial. It was accepted by Judge Roach as a factual document, the evidence. There are a number of documents supporting all of that, videos, all of those things. We knew that before June. I cannot speak to the fact of why it wasn't displayed in that trial. At the end of the day, the only person that can speak to that is Mike Howard and Toby Shook, right?
So what he's talking about here is all of the evidence that was presented yesterday about Austin Metcalf's background. What you didn't hear him say was all the evidence that was presented today about Karmelo Anthony's background. and damning information was presented on both of these kids. And he's saying that, well, I don't know why it wasn't presented into that trial. We all know why it wasn't presented into the trial. If you were there in the hearing today, then, or yesterday, then you know why it wasn't presented into the trial. It wasn't presented into the trial is because the defense and the prosecution both agreed that it's not in our best interest to present either of these two boys' background and histories into this case, because both of their backgrounds and histories are damning. That's why it wasn't presented into the case. I have a couple of clips about that. Take a listen. This one was shared by Fox News. This gives you a little bit more information about the background information on Karmelo Anthony. Take a listen.
Yeah, John, today we are hearing a lot of new evidence that was never made public during the trial, including details of what investigators found on Karmelo Anthony's phone and why it is that they believe he took a knife to this track meet last year in April. During opening statements, prosecutors revealed Anthony had a documented pattern of obsession with knives and guns. In one text message, Anthony allegedly fantasized about stabbing someone, writing, "When I stab somebody, I'm going to lick their blood off the blade." Prosecutors say they also have numerous examples of Anthony's desire to start fights and to be in fights, and they argue that's what he went to the track meet to do that day. The reason none of that came out at trial is that the defense and prosecution had what they're describing as a gentleman's agreement, an off-the-record understanding that neither side would go into character evidence, including allegations of violence and bullying by Austin Metcalf. Instead, both sides would focus on what happened under the tent the day of the stabbing. The defense now argues that Anthony chose not to testify in his own defense because at the last minute of the trial, prosecutors reversed course and told them if Anthony takes the stand, it would violate their agreement and open the door to all of those character issues being brought out. That agreement is a key part of the defense's argument as to why it is that Anthony deserves a new trial.
So those are the two major issues of why the new legal team for Karmelo Anthony are saying that he deserves a new trial. One, that the court wasn't open to the public. They didn't have the cameras in the court. They didn't have the overflow room. And then two is that Karmelo Anthony didn't testify because he was afraid to testify, because when the defense said that they were going to put him on the stand, the prosecution says, well, the gentleman's agreement that we made about background and character, history is off if he takes the stand. If he takes the stand, we're going to show all this stuff, text messages with the knives, him saying that he wanted to lick the knife with the blood, all of this violent background history on. Now, yes, that would have opened up the information on Austin Metcalf to be entered into the trial as well. But this is what, the reason is. I'm going to be honest with you. Karmelo Anthony got very, very bad legal advice, and he got very, very bad counsel. The defense that his lawyer put up was horrible, because what the appellate attorneys, this new legal team, is saying now is that this gentleman agreement, when you look at the background history on both of these two boys, that the gentleman's agreement was, it was more of an advantage to the prosecution than it was to the defense. I don't know if that's true, because some of this, background information on Austin Metcalf, who even knows if it would have been allowed into, because some of this stuff happened when he was, years ago when he was a kid. I have a clip here that gets into some of the background stuff on Austin Metcalf that they left out. Take a listen to this one.
Karmelo Anthony was dressed in a suit and tie for this morning's hearing, which began with the defense arguing that efforts by the trial judge and prosecutors to combat threats and deal with disruptions actually prevented Anthony from getting an open and fair trial. But bombshell testimony came this afternoon from Anthony's trial attorney, Mike Howard, about Austin Metcalf's background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word.
So this was a incident when they were a lot younger, I guess. So they're 17. This happened when they were 13. So that was 4 years ago that this happened. But because Karmelo Anthony is black, I mean, this would have been significant, but who knows if the judge would have allowed this in as relevant because it happened 4 years ago. So that's what I mean when I'm saying that some of this background stuff on Austin Metcalf, we don't even know if it would have been admissible. Okay. But this was a case when they did this graffiti incident, spraying KKK, Heil Hitler, kill blacks. They were actually convicted of this. They had 12 months juvenile probation for this incident. So there's no question that this happened. The only question is, would it have been admissible and got in? So again, these are the calculations that Karmelo Anthony's defense would have had to make. Are you going to fight to keep this out and not allow this evidence to come in, or just go ahead and make this what they're calling a gentleman's agreement that we're not going to bring any of this stuff in, and then we're not going to fight it in court, what gets in and what gets out. This is what Karmelo Anthony's appellate, defense is now saying, that he didn't get a fair trial because of. Now, I don't know if you can get a new trial because you hired a lawyer that was incompetent and did a bad job defending you. And I do believe that Karmelo Anthony got a subpar defense, but you get what you pay for. And we're going to get to, you get what you pay for in just a minute. But let's listen to a little bit more of this background information on Austin Metcalf.
Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school, and in 2023, Austin was accused of bullying a black student in class. In 2018, while still in elementary school, Austin and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to his arrest. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin allegedly knocked her to the ground and punched her in the stomach. He was also kicked out of a football game and texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids."
Yeah, Austin was not a good kid. I'm sorry. I mean, he was not a good kid, and he made some stupid, like when he says here, they admit that we did a lot of dumb things. Yeah, well, they did do a lot of dumb things, and I mean, it's really unfortunate and tragic that this kid is dead, but he was not a good kid. I'm sorry. But neither was Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony had tons of emotional issues, and he was not a good kid either. They are going to talk about some of the things in Karmelo Anthony's. You heard it in the last clip. There's a little bit more that they go into in this clip. Take a listen.
And texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids." At a previous track meet, when another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, "behind our bench was talking wild," Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022 to May 2024 reveal that Austin reportedly called a teacher the B word and used profanity. He told a school official that he couldn't control it and wasn't aware that it was coming out of his mouth. In 2024, on at least 5 occasions, Austin saw a counselor regarding his anger and rage during a football game. In 2021, he got banned from attending basketball games for a season after yelling profanity at a player.
So each one of these pieces of evidence, every single one of them, if the prosecution and the defense would not have made this gentleman's agreement to keep both of their backgrounds out of it, each one of these pieces of evidence would have had its own motion, its own, argument to the judge if this piece of evidence is entered into the case or if this can't be presented to the jury. Each one of these pieces, and not all of it would have made it in Maybe some of it would have made it in, some of it wouldn't have made it in. But each one of these pieces of evidence would have had to have its own motion to be introduced and presented to the jury. Same thing with Karmelo Anthony. And so let's get to some of the stuff that they had on Karmelo Anthony. Oh, we already saw it. I don't think there's any more in that. So anyway, they had all this background information. So this stuff has really galvanized the racial tribalism crises that we have here in the United States right now. All these, Black people have been showing up to the courthouse there. Justice for Nolan, or not Nolan Wells, justice for Karmelo Anthony, and supporting him. This was just yesterday. These Black women on the and there's some men there too on the steps of the courthouse. Take a listen. All right, so these people, because they're tribal, and what tribalism is you're associated with your group, with your tribe, by different things that make you a member of that tribe, right? Whatever it is. I mean, if it's in Nigeria, everyone in Nigeria is African. Everyone's Black and African, but the tribal conflict in Nigeria is between Christian Africans and Muslim Africans. So it doesn't have anything to do with race in Nigeria. They're all Black. Some are Christian, some are Muslim. Same thing that happened in Bosnia. The tribalism there was based on, Christians and Muslims, and they're all white, So it doesn't matter about race. Tribalism has to do with what ties you to your tribe. It can be religion, it can be race, it can be anything. There's other tribes. Here in North America, you had different native tribes that were joined together by whatever bound them together. In this country right now, the tribalism that we're dealing with is racial tribalism, and your uniform for your tribe is your race, your skin color. And these people, they don't care anything about the facts of the case in the Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf case. They don't care anything about that. That Karmelo Anthony is Black. He wears the uniform of our tribe. He is joined to our tribe, and we support him no matter what the facts are. And I know that is true is because they had this same circus outside of the courthouse back in June during the original trial. And this woman, I want you to listen to, this is Sarah, I forget Sarah's last name. I forget her name. Anyway, she works for TP USA, and she's interviewing this Black woman. Notice this Black woman. I want you to notice. She got it's middle of the afternoon. You can look and see where the sun is. This is the middle of the afternoon. She's got her single glass of wine in the plastic bottle. She's holding a lighter in her hand. Who knows what the lighter's for? If it's for cigarettes or for her blunts, whatever. But this is the person and the mindset that you're getting. This is why I'm explaining to you that I know that these people don't care anything about the facts of the case. It's just tribalism. Because listen to what this woman tells Sarah.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the Black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
Listen to the pronouns she's using. Ours, theirs. This is tribalism. Ours, Karmelo Anthony is ours because he wears our uniform. He's got our skin color. He's ours. And they stand by theirs. And the question that Sarah is asking this woman with her wine and her lighter in her hand in the middle of the afternoon is if the evidence is clear that Karmelo Anthony was not acting in self-defense, will the Black community, and you shouldn't be asking of the Black, because as I'm going to show you here, there's not everybody in the Black community is an extremist like these. These are extreme views. And there's Black extremists, but not everybody. Most Black people are decent people. Most black people don't drink wine in the middle of the afternoon. They don't have this same mindset as this woman is an extremist. But most black people are decent people, church-going people, you know, that only care about right or wrong, that are not, you know, into this tribalism extremism. This woman is an extremist. Now, there's a lot of black people with this mindset, but I believe, and I have to believe, that there's many more who don't. Decent black people. And so what she's giving here is an extreme view that doesn't matter what the evidence says. We're going to support ours just like they support theirs. It's tribalism.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not?
Yes.
No, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs. We're going to stand by ours regardless. I'm a mother first. I'm a black mother. Let me put that on there. I'm an African-American mother. So I have to put away my color first and step into the motherhood. Nobody wants to see their child slain. So I do want to send prayers to Austin Metcalf, their family. But at the end of the day, I got to think like, okay, what did you do to him or whatever to cause this to happen, the reaction? We got to start taking accountability for our kids.
Right, so we got to start taking responsibility for our kids.
If my kid, that's why it's a catch-22. If my kid...
It's a catch-22. This woman's an idiot. This woman's an idiot, and her views are completely extreme. They're extreme. Here's another extremist that people, this is what happened in the wake of the first trial after Karmelo Anthony was convicted and given 35 years. People started putting stuff like this out on the internet. Take a listen.
And right off the bat, man, free Karmelo. Straight up.
This guy's an idiot. This guy's an idiot, but what I'm trying to get you to understand is that he's an extremist. These are extreme views.
And right off the bat, man, free Karmelo. Straight up. Straight up. I don't give a fuck about no white lives. All lives don't matter over here. Because on the daily, we get killed. And ain't nobody got shit to say. But when one of ours is protecting themselves.
Now listen to the pronouns again. One of ours, that he's one of ours. He's part of our tribe. He's one of ours. It's like the prison mentality, you know, that the blacks are with the blacks, the whites are with the whites, the Mexicans are with the Mexicans. That this is what prison culture is. This is what they're talking about. One of ours, one of theirs. This is the tribalism I'm talking about.
We get killed. And ain't nobody got shit to say.
That's another pronoun. We get killed. Most of the times when we are getting killed by ours.
But when
99% of the time when we get killed, we are getting killed by ours.
Ours is protecting themselves. They get ambushed. They get threats. They get all of this. Fuck that cracker. We smoking on that Austin Pat pussy. Like, I don't care anymore because it ain't no good in this shit. It ain't nothing good that's in this shit. But they trying to lay the law down, all that shit. Y'all gotta give it up. It ain't over. It ain't over.
So these are extreme. This guy's an extremist. This woman is an extremist. These people are all extremists. They don't care about the facts of the case. They're going to stand by ours no matter what because they stand by theirs, is what this woman said. But what I'm telling you is that most black people are not extremists like this. Most black people are decent. Most black people don't have these views. Most black people don't have the views of this person right here. These people are extremists. Okay. And so I'm trying to get you to understand this guy. This was a phenomenon that took place after Karmelo Anthony was sentenced in June. People going out and just attacking random white people and then saying that's for Karmelo. This guy videoed himself attacking this white man on the street and then said it was for Karmelo Anthony. Take a listen. This is extreme. These people are extremists.
Hey, wasn't you on jury selection?
No, he wasn't.
He just slaps him.
Seriously. No, he wasn't.
He was.
He was on jury selection.
He's a vet, dude. He's a vet. He's a vet. He ain't been on jury selection.
I ain't worried about that.
Fuck you.
You gonna die.
Quit, dude.
You on jury? When you on jury?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
You on jury selection?
He wasn't.
You was on jury selection?
No, he wasn't.
Oh.
No, he wasn't.
Not for Anthony, not for Karmelo Anthony.
All right, so this guy's an extremist too. He's a violent extremist who just walks up to this white man who's sitting around minding his own business and slaps him and says, "You're on jury selection, that this is for Karmelo Anthony." Okay, this is what you saw. All right. But then on the 4th of July, so the Karmelo Anthony case, it was finally over in the last week of June, and then or in the middle part of June, and then like I said, Nolan Wells goes disappearing on the 4th of July. So after Nolan Wells goes disappearing on the 4th of July, they kick Karmelo Anthony out of the racial grievance news cycle. And then Nolan Wells was all part of the news cycle. But this also happened on 4th of July. This group, Patriot Front, was marching in Washington on the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This group, Patriot Front, is being described as a white supremacist and racist group. They are not. I've seen interviews with the people who founded this organization. They're not white supremacists. They're not extremists. They're not violent. They haven't done anything to anyone. The people who founded this organization asked, why do they cover their faces? And they said they cover their faces because we're family people. We have, regular jobs. We don't want to be doxxed. The media is calling us white supremacists and all this stuff, and they're not white supremacists. But they marched on in Washington on July 4th, and this became this big deal. Oh my God. White supremacists are marching through. This is all part of the racial tribalism theme as well. We're transitioning, but we're still on the same theme, and we're not really transitioning, as you're going to see. So everybody in the media is making this big deal about, oh my God, America's so racist. This racist white supremacist group they're not racist or white supremacists at all, is marching through Washington. And you might have seen, I'm going to show you a little bit of some of these news reports and TikTok and social media accounts posting this. Take a listen.
Hey, heat stroke. Yeah, you do heat stroke. Oh, you been to the gym? How you sweat?
So they're in Washington, D.C., and they were taking public transit in Washington, D.C. And then so the news, I forget what news I think it was Reuters. They were on the train, and they took the picture of this black lady on the train with all of these members of Patriot Front. There's video of these guys on the train. They're being completely polite and nice. Sorry. There's this one guy who says, "Sorry, I don't mean to crowd you." I mean, again, these guys are not racist. They're not white supremacists. Oh, it says Reuters right here. Yeah, it is Reuters. Yeah, so they're not racist or white supremacists. They're being completely polite. This woman was not in any under the threat of any harm at all. She was not, but this video went viral and everybody was like, oh, this poor woman, she had to be on this train with all these white supremacists, even though there was no harm done to her. Nothing happened to her. And you can tell that this story and this woman went out of the news cycle very quickly because they found other video of her defecating on the train. And so anyway, but this is the narrative. This poor woman had to ride on the train with all these white supremacists. And a lot of people were relating it to this image of this public transportation situation. I believe this was in North Carolina with 5 black people on the same train when this Ukrainian girl was stabbed in the neck and murdered on the train. And they were like, well, what's the difference? Nothing happened to this black woman. She just had to be on the train with these, people that were demonstrating on July 4th. They didn't harm her. They didn't do anything to her. And this becomes a major news story. All the news picks this up, that this black woman just happened to be on the public transit with the Patriot Front guys. And, What about this woman? What about this white woman that was just going home from work one night on the train with 5 black people and she's stabbed in the neck and murdered? But there was another incident that I was thinking about when I saw this picture that nobody else talked about. And I was thinking to myself, wow, that everybody's making a big deal and a big story about this black woman, unharmed, wasn't touched. Nobody even asked to sit next to her. She's taking up 2 seats. Nobody even said, do you mind scooting over? They let her take the entire seat by herself while they stand up. Nothing happened to her, but everybody reports in the news, oh, how racist America is. This poor black woman had to suffer the trauma of just riding on the train with these Patriot Front guys when nothing happened to her. And meanwhile, the Ukrainian girl is stabbed to death and none of the black people do anything to help her on public transportation. But the incident that I was thinking about that had happened just a week before 4th of July that was related to the Karmelo Anthony case, we're extremists. We're extremists. And I don't know why people didn't make the relationship because it had just happened a week before. But I want you to listen to this first. This is Jason Whitlock, and he's reporting on this black extremist that put a video out on social media, and this was the video that he put out. Take a listen.
I'm so proud of y'all for killing that white boy. See, they not used to this shit happening to them, y'all. My only problem is it should happen more. This is where I'm fucking up. This is where I got a problem.
I'm so proud of you all for killing that white boy. So he's talking about Karmelo Anthony killing Austin Metcalf. I'm so proud of you for killing that white boy. And the only thing is that it should happen more. We should be killing and killing and attacking white people more is what this idiot says. This idiot extremist. I'm trying to get you to understand, people, that the majority of black people are not like this. Majority of black people don't have this mindset. This guy is a extremist, and this stuff right here is driving decent black people, driving them away from the liberal mindset, the destructive mindset of the Democratic Party and black people like this. We want to have nothing to do with these people. This is what he says. Take a listen.
See, they not used to this shit happening to them, y'all. My only problem is it should happen more. This is where I'm fucking up. This is where I got a problem with my people. It should happen more. We should make a day like every Thursday or every Wednesday where we just wake up and fuck up a white girl or a white boy.
So he's getting ready to say boy first. I believe this guy's probably gay. I mean, the thought leaders, all the thought leaders and all of the people leading this type of movement in the black community, they're all a bunch of flaming homosexuals. And I would bet anything that this guy's a homosexual. But he's getting ready to say, boy, that we should have a day. And you can see the caption here. It says, can we please have a national whooping white people day? So we should just have a day, say it's Thursday, where we're going to all wake up and just F up. He says white boy. He's getting ready to say white boy, but he says white girl. So we shall have a day where we go out and just physically, violently attack white people because they're white. This is what he's saying.
More. This is where I'm fucking up. This is where I got a problem with my people. It should happen more. We should make a day like every Thursday or every Wednesday where we just wake up and fuck up a white girl or a white boy. Just pick a little girl, smack the shit out of her. Little boy, smack the shit out of him. Old lady, white, whatever. We should set up a day once a week where we just fuck them up, y'all.
All right. So he put this out on social media. You can see here that's June 13th is when Jason Whitlock is reporting on it. This is just a few days after the Karmelo Anthony sentences that he put out. And this is what happened on June 26th. Okay, this is the next week, this story. So June 26th is just a week before July 4th. Everybody's making a big deal about this black girl on July 4th. And this picture that Reuters took that went viral, oh my God, this black woman had to sit on the train with these white supremacists. This is what happened just a week before. Nobody even talked about this. Take a listen to Megyn Kelly here. This is what happened. Heeding the call of this guy saying, you know, we should just have a day where we just go out and F up a white boy or a white girl or an old white lady, or these are extreme views. This is completely violent. This is deranged talk that this person is talking about, that he put out on social media. But he put it out, and some people in Texas, in Longview, Texas, heard the call. Take a listen.
Has now been an arrest, reportedly as many as 3 arrests down in Texas. And the feds are now reportedly stepping in, reports Fox News Digital, following a brutal assault on a Texas woman who was allegedly beaten down by a group of suspects chanting "Free Karmelo." Fox is reporting that in Longview, Texas, police have made this arrest in connection with this alleged random attack on a victim by this group of suspects that claim, according to Fox, that they had said, quote, they were going to target the smallest white girl they could find. And they did indeed.
They're going to target the smallest white girl they can find, is what they said. And that's what this guy says. We need to have a day where we just go out and find a white girl and beat her up, F her up, be violent, is what he says. I'm so proud of y'all for killing that white boy. These people are extremists. Decent black people don't want to have anything to do with these people. These people are not fit for society. Listen to what happened to this girl. And this is just a week before this picture. Nobody talked about this white girl that was beaten, bloody. Look at the images of this. This just happened just the week before this picture was taken. Nobody talked about this on mainstream media, and they talked about that black girl. Oh my God, she had to sit there amongst these white supremacists. Listen to what happened to this woman in Longview that was minding her own business, and they beat her down for just because she was white.
According to Fox, that they had said, quote, they were going to target the smallest white girl they could find. And they did indeed find a white girl who appears to be severely injured. We've got pictures of her injuries, which
none of these pictures went viral.
Now. She is
none of these pictures. Look at this girl. Look at her beaten, bloodied. For what? Why was she beaten and bloodied? For nothing, because she was white. And it's for Karmelo Anthony. This is what they did. Nobody in the media talked about this girl. This is just a week before 4th of July. Nobody in the media shared her pictures. They shared these pictures. These pictures went viral. This picture, nothing happened to this girl. Nothing happened to her at all. These pictures went viral a week later. Oh, the trauma that she must have had sitting there amongst these white supremacists. Meanwhile, a week before, this woman is beat to a pulp, bloodied for no other reason than she was white, and they wanted revenge for Karmelo Anthony, these extremists.
Injuries, which I'm going to show you now. We don't have her name. We do know that one woman has been arrested for this assault. Here is the victim, whose injuries appear all over her face and head. Her eyebrow is bloody and looks to have a deep gash on it. The top of her head appears to have a deep gash and is quite bloody. There's a picture that they've released of her high-heeled shoe, which none of us can quite figure out what we're seeing, but they appear to think it's evidence and has blood on it. We can cycle through the pictures, please.
All right, I'm almost out of time, and I have to say, look at this. Look at this poor girl. Look at what they did to her. For no other reason than she's white. All right, so I'm almost done. So Shoe on Head, if you don't know who she is, she's a content creator, very popular content creator. She put this this video out after the Karmelo Anthony case, and when she started noticing all of this racial tribalism and ridiculous, absolute. She's going to read some posts from the internet. There's one that I want to focus on here, but she does a 32-minute video where she's talking about this racial tribalism and noticing how dangerous this is for our society, because it absolutely is. And this is what they want. This is all part of that Marxist conflict theory. But take a listen to what she says here. I'm going to try to wrap it up as soon as I can.
Why did they hire that horrible lawyer? Had to be the worst.
So this is her. She does a whole segment in this video where she's just reading comments, just disgusting comments from extremist black people all over the internet with their racial tribalism. But this one is very interesting because this is a guy who calls himself black intelligence. And he's asking this intelligent question. Why did they hire that horrible lawyer? And I'm telling you that this is what we're learning, this gentleman's agreement that this horrible lawyer that Karmelo Anthony got was completely horrible. He got completely horrible representation. If hiring a horrible lawyer and getting horrible representation is cause for you getting a new trial, then he'll likely get a new trial. But again, going back to what I said earlier, you get what you pay for. Black intelligence, you get what you pay for. That's to answer your question.
Minding your business. Why did they hire that horrible lawyer? Had to be the worst defense in history.
Absolutely. It had to be the worst defense in history. You're right about that, black intelligence. Had to be the worst defense in history.
Business. Why did they hire that horrible lawyer? Had to be the worst defense in history. Absolutely no reason Karmelo shouldn't have testified. We gotta
Absolutely no reason Karmelo shouldn't have testified. Well, yeah, we have some reasons, bro. We have a lot of reasons why he didn't testify.
Had to be the worst defense in history. Absolutely no reason Karmelo shouldn't have testified. We gotta do better with who we hire to represent us. Plenty of black lawyers in Texas.
Plenty of black lawyers in Texas. Plenty of black lawyers in Texas is what black intelligence ends with. Yeah, we have plenty of black lawyers in Texas. We're going to talk about that here in a moment.
Hire that horrible lawyer. Had to be the worst defense in history. Absolutely no reason Karmelo shouldn't have testified. We gotta do better with who we hire to represent us. Plenty of black lawyers in Texas. His family raised like $1 million on GoFundMe and then blew it all on a new house and a Cadillac.
So that's not true. They raised, I've seen $600,000 to $800,000. Okay. They did raise 6 to 8. Let's just say they raised $700,000. They didn't buy a house. They were still renting their house, but $700,000 is a lot of money. The answer to this question, why didn't they hire black lawyers? You know, so think about this tribalism mentality is that for us to get a lawyer that is going to have Karmelo's best interests in mind, then we need a lawyer that's on our team, on our side, who's part of our tribe, who wears our uniform. Plenty of black lawyers out there. The lawyer that Karmelo had was horrible. And like I said, you get what you pay for. God, running out of time. And I have so much more that I want to share. The idiot, Dominic Alexander, who the family associates himself with, he went on a podcast in either June or early July after the sentencing and Karmelo Anthony got 35 years. And he tells you what this family did with that GoFundMe money and how Karmelo Anthony ended up with this horrible legal representation that ended up, costing him many years of his life. Listen to what Dominique Alexander says here.
I know that this county has a history of hanging niggas, and the reality is okay, so somebody get me in contact with this family so that I can be able to help them with the best thing I can.
So boom. So you get in contact with them. Who brought the lawyers on board?
Brought the lawyers.
So
where'd the lawyers come from?
You get two different situations. So when I came to the situation, there was an attorney called Billy Clark, right? Right. And there was an attorney called Kim T. Cole. Right. And those attorneys was brought in only for the simple fact of, I don't care, when I get a situation there's somebody incarcerated, the only person that can get to a person is the one with a bar card, right? Right. And I don't care whether it's a personal injury attorney or whatever it is. Get to him, tell him to shut up. It got support out here, his family is out here, everything, right? I told the family, I said, hey, we're gonna set up your fund, we're gonna do whatever, you know what I mean? Do whatever we can. We're gonna bring in, security, all this different type of stuff. I told them, I said, hey, y'all got to find an attorney because these attorneys are not, the permanent attorneys. This one doesn't have experience. And Kim T. Cole, although somebody virally said, Kim T. Cole is my organization's general counsel. Right. You know what I'm saying? Kim T. Cole is a good sister. The water bill in my house is in Kim T. Cole's name. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, it just, the pure stupidity of theater that people saying, oh, he fired a black woman attorney to hire. This woman is a civil attorney. You can go on the Texas bar thing and look civil. It ain't
so you
criminal.
actually brought her in just to get back there in the back to talk to him?
Just to talk to him. That's it. That was the whole purpose. That was to get him to shut up because we were we had just, when we were sitting with the family, we had got a pastor of one community church. This is the church that they were going to right now. The senior pastor never reached out to him. He said he had just left and spoke to Karmelo. And so, you know, that's cause of alarm. What the hell you doing back there? You know what I'm saying? He one of the co-pastors. Right. So we like, okay, he don't need to talk to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because evidently they didn't send this pastor there. You get what I'm saying? To talk to him. Because it's
unreal that this guy is still speaking for the family today. This guy's still speaking for the family today. Take that into consideration as you listen to this.
Skip to go to visit they baby, and you ain't even reached out to them. But you go to him and then reach out to him later, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. And so, of course, it was like, okay, let's shut this down. And then so what happened was I leave that situation and I reach out automatically to Frisco Police Department and say, hey, they getting threats, all this different types of stuff or whatever. They all this, y'all need to do whatever y'all need to do. I scheduled a meeting with them. Now, Rain, I told these people I'll come to Frisco. They came all the way to Dallas to my office to meet with me. Right. Lied to me and said they had a meeting at DPD. Now, they ain't had no damn meeting at DPD. They said, don't let this nigga come to my city. You know what I'm saying? And so they came. And so the mother and the dad reached out to me and said, hey, why aren't you in these meetings? I said, what meetings are you talking about? And there was a PR person named Casey Fox that was on this case. And she sent out a press release that Billy Clark and Kim T. Cole was the attorneys. Right. Everybody was like, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. They ain't got no experience, blah, blah, blah. And so I told the family, this is Sunday. They got a bond hearing Tuesday. Whoever you want to meet with, like, you got to find an attorney today, because if you don't want to reschedule this bond hearing, you got to. So I had them meet with another attorney, a black attorney. The first attorney I had to meet was black.
Part of the team, part of the tribe. The first attorney that I had to meet with, not these attorneys that just practice different forms of law. They have a bar card, and I was able to get them in to talk to Karmelo in the beginning. The first defense attorney who specializes in defense was a black attorney, someone who's wearing our uniform, someone from our team, our tribe, who's with we. I had him talk to the first attorney was a black attorney, one of ours.
The attorney I had to meet with was black. Rain asked me what the price that black attorney was. Charged $500,000.
$500,000.
They won.
The black attorney, the guy from our tribe that's with us, that wears our uniform. I mean, if it's all about being on code and the tribe and the uniform, why wouldn't the black attorneys do it pro bono? Or at least cut him a deal because he's part of the tribe. No, the black attorney want $500,000 is what Dominique says here.
Was black.
So to answer your question to this black intelligence, why there's plenty of black lawyers in Texas? Yeah, there's plenty of black lawyers in Texas. The black attorney wanted $500,000. What the white attorney who gave him terrible legal advice and legal representation? What did he want?
So. I had him meet with another attorney, a black attorney. The first attorney I had to meet was black. Rain asked me what the price that black attorney was. Charged $500,000. $500,000. They weren't talking until they gave him $200,000.
Now listen to this. They weren't talking until I said. Now these people raised at least $700,000 on GoFundMe. $700,000 on GoFundMe, they raised at least that. The black attorney, who's part of our tribe, part of wearing our uniform, he's one of ours, wants $500,000. Why don't you give that to the black attorney? Why don't you give it to him? Maybe you would have gotten a better defense.
They weren't talking until they gave him $200,000.
What the white man say?
75.
75,000. That's what the white man said. That's what the white man said. The white man says $75,000. That's what I mean when I say you get what you pay for. And yes, Karmelo Anthony got a horrible legal defense. This gentleman's agreement was stupid from his standpoint. Not putting him on the stand was stupid. I have more that I wanted to share. We may pick this back up on Monday. But yeah, so they went the cheap. They had raised $700,000. They went the cheap way with the cheap lawyer with $75,000, and you get what you pay for. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.